The morning sun streamed through the tall windows of Calf Magnolia, casting a warm golden glow over the polished wooden tables and the aroma of freshly brewed coffee. Emily Carter, a young waitress with a humble smile and a heart full of kindness, moved gracefully between tables, balancing trays loaded with pastries, sandwiches, and steaming cups of coffee. Her life was simple, far from glamorous, but she took pride in helping people feel welcomed and valued. Even on the busiest mornings, it was an unusually busy Thursday, and the cafe was crowded with regulars, students, and professionals. In the corner, a man in an impeccably tailored suit sat alone, reviewing documents on a tablet while occasionally taking sips of his black coffee. Emily had noticed him before he came in at the same time most mornings. Always alone, always focused. Rumors in the city whispered that he was a billionaire CEO named Alexander Blake, the owner of Blake Industries, one of the largest tech companies in the country. But to Emily, he was just a man who seemed overworked and tired, and when she approached his table, tray in hand, she smiled and said warmly, "Good morning, sir. Can I get you anything else?" Alexander looked up briefly, his blue-gray eyes meeting hers. There was a hint of exhaustion there, but also a flicker of gratitude. "Actually," he said hesitantly, "could you make sure my coffee is strong today? I have a very long meeting ahead." Emily nodded, a small blush rising to her cheeks. "Absolutely. I'll take care of it." Small acts, big impressions over the next few weeks. Emily continued to notice him. Each morning, she made sure his coffee was perfect, sometimes adding a little extra cream just the way he liked it. Alexander, a man accustomed to power and influence, began to notice Emily too, not just because she remembered his preferences, but because her genuine kindness was something rare in his world. One day, a sudden spill occurred. A careless customer knocked over a cup of coffee, and the liquid splashed dangerously close to Alexander's papers. Emily immediately rushed over, apologizing profusely and quickly cleaning up the mess. "I'm so sorry, sir," she said. "I didn't mean for this to happen." Alexander looked at her, not with irritation, but with an odd kind of admiration. "It's all right. You acted fast." "Thank you," he said softly. Emily's heart skipped a beat. No one in his world thanked the help they received so sincerely. From that moment, their interactions grew warmer, though still professional. She didn't know much about him, except the rumors. His company was worth billions. His life was filled with board meetings, contracts, and constant media scrutiny. And he didn't know much about her, just that she was a young woman working tirelessly to support herself. Her dreams small but her heart big. The Locket appears. The turning point came on a rainy Friday. Emily was closing up the cafe when Alexander walked in, drenched, clearly flustered. His umbrella had broken, and his expensive suit was soaked. Without hesitation, Emily grabbed a towel and offered him a chair by the window to dry off. "Here. Sir, let me help you," she said softly, draping the towel around his shoulders. "You must be freezing." Alexander hesitated, then allowed her to help. As she dabbed the water from his hair, she noticed a small, golden locket dangling from a chain around his neck. It was intricate, delicate, and slightly worn, as if it had been carried for decades. "Is that a family locket?" she asked curiously. Alexander's expression changed, a mixture of nostalgia and something deeper. He hesitated, then sighed. "It belonged to my grandmother," he admitted. "She gave it to me when I was very young. I've carried it everywhere since. It's important." Emily nodded, sensing the weight behind the object. "It's beautiful," she said softly, "and it looks like it means a lot to you." For a moment, there was silence. Just the two of them in the dimly lit cafe, listening to the rain tapping against the windows, a growing bond over the next several weeks. Alexander found excuses to visit the cafe more often, not just for coffee, but to see Emily. Their conversations grew longer, lighter, and more personal. Emily discovered that despite his wealth and power, Alexander had experienced loss. His parents had died when he was a teenager, leaving him to navigate the world alone. He had built his empire with determination, but it came at a cost. He rarely trusted anyone, and he rarely allowed anyone close. Emily, on the other hand, shared stories of her modest life, her struggles to pay rent, her dreams of traveling the world someday. Alexander listened intently, captivated by her sincerity and strength. She had a way of making even a billionaire CEO feel like a regular person, reminding him that life's simplest moments, a shared smile, a kind word, were often the most meaningful. One afternoon, after a particularly long day at the office, Alexander confided, "Emily, it's strange. I don't usually let anyone see this side of me. You make it easier to breathe." Emily smiled gently. "Sometimes, all we need is someone to notice our hearts, sir. Not our wealth, not our titles, just us." The truth revealed then. One evening, the revelation happened. Alexander had agreed to meet Emily outside the cafe after her shift. She had been saving for a train trip to visit her family in another state, and he had offered her a ride home, insisting he could drop her off safely. Asterisk as they drove through the city streets. He reached into his coat pocket and retrieved the golden locket. Carefully, he opened it, revealing a tiny photograph, a woman who looked startlingly like Emily. Asterisk, that's my mother, he said quietly, voice trembling. She died when I was very young. I never expected to see her face again, but somehow, seeing you today, it's like she's here. Asterisk, Emily stared at the photo, then back at him, heart pounding. She looks just like me, she whispered. Asterisk, Alexander nodded, tears glistening in his eyes. You're her daughter's twin, or rather, you could have been my cousin. Had she lived longer? Fate has strange ways of working. Asterisk, the car was silent, except for the rain tapping on the windows. Emily's mind raced. She couldn't believe it. Her kindness had brought her to someone who carried her family's memory so closely. It was a moment that felt like destiny. A connection far deeper than either of them had anticipated. Life-changing decisions from that moment on. Their relationship shifted. Alexander began helping Emily in ways she had never expected. Not just financially, but emotionally. He made sure she could afford her education, supported her dreams, and treated her as a partner in trust and respect, never as someone beneath him. Asterisk, Emily, meanwhile, continued to show the same kindness and humility she had always possessed. She never let his wealth intimidate her, and Alexander never stopped marveling at how someone so simple could make his complicated life feel full of warmth and meaning. Asterisk, together, they started a foundation in honor of Alexander's mother, dedicated to helping young women achieve their dreams through education and mentorship. Emily took an active role, organizing programs and interacting with the beneficiaries, while Alexander provided resources and connections. Asterisk, the foundation flourished, becoming one of the most respected philanthropic efforts in the country. But more importantly, their lives were filled with mutual respect, trust, and a deep, enduring bond that neither wealth nor tragedy could break. A lesson in kindness. One evening, as Emily looked out over the city skyline from the penthouse Alexander had insisted she visit, she reflected on the twists of fate that had brought them together. From a simple act of kindness offering a warm towel to a drenched stranger, she had changed both of their lives. Asterisk, Alexander joined her, handing her a cup of hot tea. You know, he said softly, I've learned that wealth means nothing if it doesn't touch someone's heart. And kindness, true kindness, can bridge worlds, heal wounds, and even reveal the truth we didn't know we were missing. Asterisk, Emily smiled, understanding fully. She had learned that even the smallest acts, a smile, a helping hand, a few moments of genuine attention could have the power to change destiny. Asterisk, and as they watched the sunset together, two lives that fate had intertwined, they knew that this was only the beginning of a story written not in wealth or power, but in the quiet, unassuming strength of the human heart.